Have you ever wondered what really happened on the very first Easter morning? Not just the story you've heard before, but what it truly felt like to be there, to stand in the crowd, to walk those streets, to see everything unfold right in front of your eyes. A story of love, a love so deep it chose to stay, even when it could have walked away. A story of sacrifice, where someone gave everything so others could live. And a moment, one single moment in history that changed everything, forever. This is the true story of Jesus, from the cross to the empty tomb. Let's begin. It was evening. The city was settling down. But inside a quiet room, something important was happening. Jesus sat at a table with his disciples. These were not just followers. These were his friends. They had walked dusty roads together, shared meals together, laughed, learned, and listened. They had seen miracles, heard his teachings, and believed in him. But this night felt different. There was a weight in the air, a quiet seriousness. Jesus looked around the table, his eyes gentle, yet filled with meaning. And then he said something they never expected to hear. "One of you will betray me." The room went silent. The disciples looked at each other, confused, uneasy. Is it me? Could it be me? No one understood, not yet. But everything was already in motion. But later that night, Jesus walked into a garden. It was quiet still, the kind of quiet that feels heavy. He moved away from the others, just a little further. And then he stopped. He knelt down. For the first time, we see the weight he was carrying. "Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me." He knew what was coming. The pain, the suffering, the sacrifice. But then, he made a choice. A choice not based on comfort, but on obedience. "Not my will, but yours be done." And in that moment, he chose to go through with it. He stood up, steady, resolved, ready. Suddenly, the silence was broken. Footsteps, voices, torches flickering in the dark. A crowd was coming, soldiers, leaders, and at the front, someone familiar, Judas, one of the 12. He walked straight up to Jesus, as if nothing was wrong. And then he kissed him, a sign of betrayal. Jesus looked at him, not with anger, but with sorrow. "Judas, are you betraying me?" With a kiss? And in that moment, everything changed. They stepped forward and seized him. Then Peter followed, but from a distance, close enough to see, far enough to feel safe. He stood near a fire, trying not to be noticed. Then someone looked at him. "You were with him." Peter reacted quickly. "I don't know him." Another voice joined in. "You are one of his followers." Again, he denied it. "No, I am not." The pressure grew. The tension increased. Then someone insisted. "Surely you were with him." And for the third time, "I don't know him." In that moment, Peter chose fear instead of truth. Then the rooster crowed, and everything stopped. The sound echoed, and suddenly, Peter remembered. Jesus had said this would happen, and now it had. The weight of it hit him all at once, and he walked away and wept. Jesus stood before the governor, still, calm, unshaken. Pilate examined him, listened, watched, and found no fault in him. But outside, the crowd had already made up their minds. "Crucify him!" The voices grew louder and louder until truth was drowned out. until pressure took over, and Pilate gave in. They led him to Golgotha, a hill outside the city, the place of the skull, and there they crucified him. It was painful, it was unjust, it was cruel, and yet, even in that moment, Jesus chose compassion. Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. Even when they hurt him, he chose to love. 2 men were crucified beside him. One of them mocked him. If you are the Messiah, save yourself and save us. But the other saw something different. This man has done nothing wrong. Then he turned to Jesus with nothing but hope. Remember me? And Jesus answered, today you will be with me in paradise. Even in his final moments, he was still saving. Then the sky grew dark, the air grew heavy, the world fell silent, and Jesus said, it is finished. And he gave up his spirit. His body was taken down, carefully, gently, wrapped in linen, placed inside a tomb. A large stone rolled across the entrance, sealed, closed, and just like that, it seemed like the story was over. Early in the morning, before the sun had fully risen, the women made their way to the tomb. They expected sadness. They expected silence. But what they found was something else entirely. The stone was already rolled away. They stopped, confused, careful. They stepped closer and looked inside. The tomb was empty. Suddenly, 2 figures appeared, bright, radiant, peaceful. Why do you look for the living among the dead? He is not here. He is risen. And then something changed. They remembered. Every word Jesus had spoken, every promise he had made, it was all true. Fear began to fade, and hope began to rise. Then they turned and ran, not in fear, but in wonder, not in confusion, but in belief. They had to tell the others. Well, as Peter heard and ran, he reached the tomb and looked inside. The cloths were there, folded, carefully placed. He stood there, trying to understand. Something had happened, something real, something powerful, but he was still wondering. Mary stayed behind. She stood outside the tomb, weeping. Everything still felt broken. Then a voice spoke. Woman, why are you crying? She didn't recognize him. She thought he was the gardener. Then he said her name, Mary. She turned, and everything changed. Rabboni. He knew her name, and he knows yours too. Jesus was alive. The tomb was empty. He is not here. He is risen, just as he said, and nothing would ever be the same. Jesus is alive, and this changes everything.